Good evening, everybody. My name is Michael or Kubera. I am 22 years old, turning 23 in January, and at this ripe age, I have to declare bankruptcy. It would be the proper choice at this point. The only problem is it costs money, so let's go into all the details and how I not only have racked up massive debts in the 5-figure ranges for the United States of America, but also in Europe. So let's, this is juicy. Let's get into it. Roll the intro. I just want to preface this with there's going to be two videos. So one is going to be discussing about how I got into this situation and what the next steps are in order to be declared bankrupt, at least from my understanding. I'm no expert on this topic. I'm just a 22-year-old kid that got into financial issues and is trying to find a way out of this because debt does not go away until you're able to declare bankruptcy, but then still it has some caveats in it. And in another video, I'm going to be educating you guys how to avoid these same mistakes that I've done, what lessons I've learned, and just going through some high hopes and regrets over the past few years. So it's going to be entertaining and educational. So without further ado, there is one challenge to declaring bankruptcy. Why didn't I declare bankruptcy much sooner? For those who are new to the channel, you might be wondering how I got into this position. In the links in the description below, there is one that's titled How I Got into a $100,000 Debt. So you're able to review that. And in more details, I discuss how I actually acquired it. No surprise, a lot of people in the 2018 massive cryptocurrency crash lost their homes, lost everything, went bankrupt because people were just dumb. People were stupid with their investments. People sold everything they had, even if they couldn't afford it, to invest in crypto because they saw that other individuals were making a lot of money. And people were. I made a lot of money in a few months. There was one month that at age 19, I made over $30,000. And I was living in a country where in America, $30,000 is a pretty poor salary. But in Poland, that is middle-class territory right there. There's people that earn less than $1,000 per month. Some earn closer to $500 per month. It is rare, but they do get there. So suddenly earning $30,000 in a month, it kind of gives you that confidence and you think you're a genius. You're like, wow, I'm onto something here. Well, I wasn't a genius. I made hundreds of mistakes. It wasn't one major mistake. It was hundreds of mistakes, and all of them were pretty big. But we're not going to be discussing about my investing mistakes. The bulk majority of my money was lost in a few days, essentially, because I kept most of my money in investments. The rest of my money, I was using credit. Oh yes, credit cards and personal loans to purchase expensive items that, for the most part, I didn't really need because I wanted as much of my money invested in crypto. So I upgraded my lifestyle pretty quick, and then I had to downgrade my lifestyle. Declaring bankruptcy is pretty easy, especially Chapter 7. When you have no income, you have no assets, you pretty much have nothing. And you've kind of had nothing for the past 2-3 years. Actually, it's 3.5 now, so whoa. Most people who go bankrupt, it's not like they have absolutely no money left. You see, the smart thing would have been to establish a business, and then the business would go bankrupt, take all my credits, all the loans onto the business, and then I wouldn't be held responsible and I'd still have my money. But I not only acquired personal loans and used credit cards in America, but I also did them in Poland at the same time. And then I acquired more loans when I realized I lost a lot of my money in crypto to try and pay off the loans in America. And you see where this is going. So suddenly I'm taking one loan to pay off a second loan. Both have interest. I also have to convert money from PLN to US dollars or from US dollars to PLN, vice versa. Sometimes I had to send money from PayPal because there's various limits. So the amounts that we're talking about here, PayPal and the banks, they realize, hey, this guy's 19 years old. Like, what's going on? Let's limit him. Let's give him a daily limit. Let's give him a sending limit. Let's verify that everything's okay. So if suddenly I'm sending 5,000 here, 10,000 there, bam, 15,000, 5 figures within a 24-hour period, I have to use another platform. And using multiple platforms, there's transaction fees. So suddenly there's fees all around. And you can see how suddenly a few $100s worth of fees pops up. In total, thousands and thousands of dollars worth of fees just spruced out of nowhere. It was stupid. I understand. We're not doing those mistakes again, but there's no way to fix it right now besides declaring bankruptcy. So the main issue is, why did I declare bankruptcy earlier? Well, You need money. You need money for a lawyer. In Illinois, it's anywhere from $900 to $1,200. So let's just say a round number of $1,000. You can do it without a lawyer, but if it's a complex situation and you do something wrong, debt collectors can still try and collect the debt after you've declared bankruptcy, and then I need to declare another bankruptcy. So I don't really want to go that route, especially since in my eyes, anything revolving around cryptocurrency, just based off of what we've seen, how governments have reacted over the past few years, it's most likely going to be a tricky situation. So let's pay $1,000 to the lawyer. Well, I need to save up $1,000, but then I need a plane ticket to America. So, all right, maybe it's a low season, $600, $700. Not even going to mention the whole pandemic situation right now, because that's another issue that we've had to worry about. But if everything was normal, let's say $600, $700 in the higher seasons where we're approaching December pretty soon, and that's going to be anywhere from $1,200 to $1,300. So let's say I time things right, $700. So currently we're at $1,700. But then, wait, hold on. I can't even fly out of the country because I had debts over here, and there's criminal debts and there's civil debts. And you might be wondering to yourself, oh no, Mike, a criminal? Don't worry, criminal just means it will turn criminal if I don't pay. But since I don't have money to pay, it will undoubtedly turn criminal. And that means at the airport, any fees that are possibly going to turn criminal means suddenly the agents at the border have the right to stop me before I get onto my flight. You see, since 2017, the EU has imposed some new regulations. And that means if you have an unpaid parking ticket, most likely with the way the system works, it's probably going to be lost for a few months. But after that time passes up, it's going to be in the system. Although I did get lucky once. I did try and verify how many tickets I have in total. I know for certain one was lost. Maybe it was found again. Hopefully it wasn't, because that was over $100, just one ticket. And you might be saying to yourself, Mike, just pay the tickets. But you see, there's over a few $1,000s worth of tickets. And that's where you're like, whoa, what's happened there? There's three types of tickets. There's speeding tickets, there's parking tickets, and then there's the just general travel tickets, travel, transportation, whatever, the tickets that they took videos or photo footage of. So that was either speeding or breaking the law in some other ways. One time I got a ticket. It was my mistake for missing a car registration. Even though I did register my car, I forgot that it was temporary and I had to go in for a second permanent one. Oops, well, that cost me. So in total, from my estimates, it's probably $2,500. It could be more, it could be less, but I need to pay those tickets before I try and leave to America, because if I don't, and I have already purchased a flight, then they arrest me. And even if I have the money to pay for those tickets, which there was many cases like this. For example, there was a couple that were going to the dream of a lifetime vacation that was like $5,000. And one person, the husband left and the wife was stuck at the airport in the local jail, the holding cell. She paid the tickets, but she wasn't allowed to board the flight. The flight left her and she didn't get the money back, even with insurance, because insurance doesn't really cover that. So this is where it gets fun. I tried paying off the tickets when I actually had money, but I went to the police and they told me, well, the police doesn't handle all the tickets. I went to the city guard for the parking ticket and I could pay them off, but they didn't want to accept cash. They wanted me to do it online. The online site wasn't working and I just gave up at that point. And the third transportation agency wasn't even in Warsaw. The only way I could physically pay is to go drive a few hundred kilometers to a different it's like, it made no sense. So that's why I didn't pay those tickets. The majority of the tickets came from parking tickets. And the reason I didn't pay for my parking is it actually made more sense not to pay for the fee and receive a ticket, because I didn't get a parking ticket every single day, but I lived in the city center. So that's also why I moved kind of to a different, cheaper city. Here, I don't get parking tickets anymore, so don't worry, this is old news. But the parking was so insanely expensive. It's not as expensive as in Netherlands, where it cost me like 50 euros per 24 hours. I also got a parking ticket that was the same fee as the actual parking itself. So if I didn't get a ticket within a 24-hour period, it also would have made sense not to pay the parking. Here, however, in Warsaw, they did outsmart the criminals, the evaders, because now instead of 50 PLN, which was around $15 or whatever, they have not tripled, they have not quadrupled, they 5x'd it. That's right, now every parking ticket is 250 PLN, and they also don't have little men checking to see if you paid your parking. They have automated robotic cars with cameras just patrolling around the city. So out of all my fees, I have to pay for the bankruptcy lawyer. I have to pay the tickets to get out of Poland. But anything civil in Poland, well, after a few years, most of the fees, if not all of them, won't be valid anymore. So I think the cutoff point for most of them is 5 years. For a majority, for half of them, it's like 3 years. So we're approaching actually on some of them in a few months. The largest one was an office rental space, which was over $10,000. So that was a pretty big fee. The total debt that I have in Poland could be, I have no idea. I have no idea what it is. I know it's a high 5-figure range. I tried paying off my debts, but that didn't really work out. You know what? It actually would have been smarter for me not to pay any of my debt, sell my stuff, immediately go bankrupt, start over, like fully start over, and use the remainder of the money that I had to start a business or find a job or whatever, because then I wouldn't be fully broke. For the past 3 years, I also had assistance from my family, where my mom sent thousands and thousands of dollars to try and also help pay off the fees. But at one point, it was even up to $1,000 per month that we were trying to pay off the debt. So for someone with no income, because I also lost the majority of my sponsorships, I lost it all. When the crypto crash happened, people started unsubscribing. They stopped viewing my content, so I lost AdSense. I also lost sponsored ads because companies started going bankrupt. And I wasn't prepared to lose from both sides. Now in Poland, bankruptcy doesn't really exist like it does in America. There is bankruptcy for corporations, and recently it's titled something else, but for consumers who have gotten either due to illnesses or the fact that they've lost their jobs, and that's one category, or due to their own mistakes. I'm not sure which one I could fall in. Maybe I could technically argue that, hey, I got tinnitus. Maybe it's a medical reason. Maybe I also lost my money because of losing a job, losing sponsorships, but probably I wouldn't fall into that category. Whichever category though, the bankruptcy here doesn't really work like in America. You still have to pay back some of your fines and debts. So it's not like it's a full wipe. Now in America, some bankruptcies don't do a full wipe, but when you're in a situation like mine, when literally debt collectors won't be able to collect from anything because I have nothing of value. Even the laptop that used to be worth $2,000 is worth probably $400 right now. And it's pretty close to disintegrating. It's in a pretty terrible state. So I have nothing worth of value. I sold almost everything. And it makes no sense for me to try and get a job where if I would try and get a job, they would actually garnish my wages. And on top of taxes, the only way I can make money is by freelancing. So the way to get out of this mess is to make money. It's pretty simple. But if I don't declare bankruptcy in America, where any freelancing, anything from YouTube, anything that's registered in the US, which makes more sense because if I get paid, even poverty levels in America, and it gets sent over here, and then I just convert into PLN, I'm still going to be middle class here instead of completely broke, while if I went to a normal job, I'd be poor until the debt collectors would garnish my wages. And that's why bankruptcy is needed in America. That's why it's more important than trying to figure out the mess that's over here. And also, it's a smaller financial problem over there, which also kind of frustrates me because if it was $50,000 over there or $100,000 over there and I went bankrupt, it would be better for my wallet because everything would get cleared. But $17,000 isn't a small sum, but it's also not the largest sum in the world. There was a lot of people who were telling me, oh, you should try and pay it off. But at this rate, I tried paying it off. It didn't really work because of all the fees. And eventually, I would have to have an upper middle class income over here in Poland to try and pay off the American. All of these fees, all of these debts are in dollars, even the ones that I took out in Poland. I was thinking of it like, hey, I'm taking out a loan for $20,000. There we go. And by the way, I was approved for loans that were even up to over $100,000. So at age 19, that was pretty crazy. I had an Amex Platinum, which was pretty awesome. But I did rack up a $20,000 debt on there in 1 month. It was like, wow. And for a lot of people who are saying I'm stupid, I was, but I also was pretty decent and logical for many months. It took over 2 years to build a good credit score. I had a credit score approaching 740 plus. I was very close to that. If I had 1 or 2 more good months of payments, I would have actually exceeded that. So the plan is currently save up for a lawyer, save up for a trip to America, save up to pay to get rid of these fines, go to America, actually get declared bankrupt, get paid in American dollars, maybe possibly fix the financial situation in Poland, but probably not, because there is no full bankruptcy wipe option over here. Most likely the best option is to continue what I've been doing. Make sure nothing's in the bank accounts. Make sure anything, for example, a car would be registered in another individual's name. And if I'd ever want to get property in Poland, which I'm not thinking about that right now, but if I was, it would have to be registered under another individual's name, unless we would already surpass the amount of years that it would take for those debts to just kind of get wiped off. But those debt collectors, I don't know, it's a tricky thing. I'm not an expert on it. Like I said, this video is probably way longer than it should be. I always ramble, but that is my life. At one point in time, if I did everything correctly, if I knew, which I had no way of knowing, but if I knew to sell everything that I had right then and there and reinvest that into an asset like a house or apartment or maybe multiple, then currently I'd probably be worth a few $100,000 in a country where people earn $1,000 to $2,000 per month. But since I was stupid, we are worth $100,000 with a nice minus in front of it, negative $100,000. I have no idea even what the debts are. At minimum though, I am negative $50,000 in debt. At maximum, low six figures. I have no idea. And to be quite honest, the full extent, I may never ever fully know, because there's been debts as small as $5 that also grew. one of the craziest debts, and then I'm going to end this video. I didn't pay $10 for an internet fee. All right, $10. They repeated it for 4 months. I was like, whatever. I'm just not going to pay the internet. I forgot about it. I wasn't even in Poland at the time, so I had no use for the internet. I thought, that's okay. I'll pay for it at another point in time. And then the crash happened. I forgot about it. I suddenly got a fee that, hey, your total $40 goes to like $500, $600, because there's a huge fee that's a few thousand PLN. It's like, whoa, Jesus. So I called and I was like, hey, is there any way to fix it? They said no. So I was like, wow, all right. I'm just not paying that then. Always read the fine print. Hey. If you are a cryptocurrency company owner, an advertiser, a marketer, you know someone who can give me a job, any freelancing stuff, you would like a sponsorship on this channel, you see any way we can work together, email me. Let's work together. So hopefully I can try and get out of this mess. Woo! Let's continue on with the video. I'm trying to be happy even though I'm dead inside. Woo! But 2019 was definitely a worse year, seriously. Not only did I get in debt, but then I also got tinnitus and hearing loss. Now I'm getting better. I seriously wanted to end it all. I was like, I'm done with this. Yes. You make one bad mistake and it can follow you around for even a decade. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Hopefully you've learned a thing or two from this. If you have, share your opinion down below, leave a like, and if you're new to the channel, subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next video. So bye.